Imagine for a moment a world without art, without dance, opera, literature, poetry. That world would be a very, very dull place.
Today on the program, we have Cory Turek, a visual psychedelic artist with a focus on expressive line work, colors, and symmetry. He also operates a multimedia marketing company, Beyond Elusive, where he has put together posters, album art, logos, music videos. Graduating from Columbia College in Chicago in graphic design, Cory is a jack of all trades and a master of most, and is a wide-ranging talent base across multiple mediums. Cory, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
So we were actually just having a talk about a band that you were actually talking about. Which band was that?
Oh, I was talking about Erico.
Erico. Now, they're originally from Chicago, right?
Yep. Born and raised. Crow is a band. Chicago it is.
Now you said that were you like a live painter with them? You said you knew the guys.
I still am best friends with Matt and Nick, and I know Mike very well, and I also know Bruce very well.
Yeah.
I know all of them. Plus, I was like in the band for a little bit.
Okay, so yeah,
way in the beginning, I was their original bass player.
Oh, really?
But I was so focused on graphic design, I decided I can't live a double life like this. It's got to be one or the other, so I chose graphic design. But they ended up getting with Bruce. He's got his own studio, worked out beautifully for him. For all of them. And Mike is just, such a straightforward guy. He's going to get it done. So all of them collectively together, just perfect group. And they're great live.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like projects in general, that's the way they are. Like, you get, you only have, like, a certain amount of passion that you can bring project to project.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only have so much focus that you can put on one thing at a time. So what made you want to get back into graphic design, or really into graphic design?
Oh, well, it's what I studied in college. It's what I'm paying those student loans for. So, I wanted to do graphic design. I decided not just graphic design, but also art. Because the whole reason I took graphic design was because I was an artist from the day I was born, basically. So.
Yeah, turn your mic straight there for me.
What'd you say? Like this way?
Yeah, just right there.
Better?
Yeah, much better.
Gotcha.
Just want to make sure we're picking you up full.
For sure.
So, what mediums did you start doing art in? Did you start like more in graphic design and work into, more painting, sketching, or was it vice versa?
Basically, I started freehand, and then I'd say once I learned how to use the computer, I always wanted to mix the two. It was always my dream to be able to draw on a computer. But it was never there. Never there. They were always so shitty.
Well,
until the Wacom came out.
There's only so much you can do with Microsoft Paint, too.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, I ended up learning Photoshop. Dude, I started on, Microsoft Picture It.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. I was going ham in that program. I made it happen.
Yeah.
I figured it out, but, went to college, studied Photoshop.
Yeah, man. That was the same way I felt about the old Flash player. You ever do those old Flash player videos, dude?
Yeah.
I used to make these little cartoons back in the day. It was just imported images from Paint, but super rudimentary. But it was a very meticulous thing to sit and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when you're starting with that kind of a program, it just makes you appreciate the sophisticated nature of the programs that are going to come later on, like something like Photoshop that you can just add infinite layers onto something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, the undo.
Yeah, and then undo.
It's a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you start off, you said you started off freehand, so it was mostly just doodling, making little comics, cartoons, stuff like that?
Yeah, I basically did all of that. I was drawing I was trying to draw Bionicle comics.
Okay.
And I had like specific ones that I made. Like I was really big into Legos, like most of my life too.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I think made me a very meticulous person that I am today, because I was focusing on all this, just different items collected together, and I know exactly how it's built in my brain. So I'm good at visualizing what I want to make, usually in art.
Yeah,
and then I'll make it. I'll have a very good idea of the pieces that I need to make that then. I don't know. I feel like Legos kind of did that for me. Just growing up, playing with them for so long,
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a good way to like approach doing a comic too, because I mean, when you're putting down, a comic panel, you need to set that up with the idea of an architect. Like you need to you need to have the idea of an entire city block in mind where the scene's going to be taking place, and almost look at them like
like you're shooting it.
Yeah, like a cinematographer,
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, it takes a lot of good geometry to be able to do that kind of. I mean, even just like drawing out cityscapes in general, just to have that kind of a mind, like how you would build it up.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever done anything of that nature with just in like your personal art?
Not recently, or really at all, I would say, because I wasn't very sharing with my art until a few years ago.
Okay.
Where I actually started making this psychedelic art.
Yeah,
Which honestly, when everything just culminated together, I just decided, I said, fuck it. The world's got to see it, and it's been working out, which I'm very happy of.
So I'm really interested in like what that moment was that made you want to start sharing it.
I don't know. Went through a very bad relationship.
Okay.
That took a long time to get over, just emotionally, and like, I don't know, a lot of internal conflict that happened.
Right.
And then I finally hit a point where I didn't care anymore. I just grew out of it, basically. Like, I have gotten rid of it, and I've been doing, breathing exercises that really help. Like, the more oxygen you breathe in, and you just feel great.
Yeah, it's very calming.
What I always say is, like, breathe into your spine.
Yeah.
You can almost feel it, too, when you breathe in.
Yeah, breathe in.
Your spinal fluid is actually getting oxygen when you're doing that.
Well, I mean, you want to breathe in until, your back straightens out and you have that good posture that you should be having all the time.
That helps a lot. For sure. Yeah.
Now, one thing I've always found interesting is just the ability of art to heal people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely what I feel like it's doing for me as well.
Now before that, before you decided to share it, were you just like, doing your own little doodles? Were you actually like, painting and just kind of storing them away for a while?
Basically, these are my doodles.
Okay.
That I thought, like, it's just weird. I was such a perfectionist. I always wanted to have very specific, meticulous things that are like almost, old school, I would say, like very realistic, I guess. Like that, I would always be striving for that. But then I decided I'm not going to go for best. I'm just going to go for me.
I think that's like something that like holds a lot of people back too. Is like,
totally.
Particularly trying to learn any kind of skill set, if you're not good at it right away, you kind of become discouraged. And a lot of people, when they want to, learn a new skill, they're going to be perfectionists about it because, that's just kind of, we were talking about society earlier. That's kind of what society wants us to strive to be as perfectionists in everything that we do. And, I don't know. That's not where the benefit in art is. The benefit of art is engaging in it.
That's it. Yeah. Art just is. That's the thing that's beautiful about art. Anybody can make it.
Yeah.
Some people will say they're not creative. Well, just do something abstract until you feel it's kind of okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're like, whoa, what? Just do abstract. Like, shit, anything.
Just practice on merging colors together.
Yeah.
Start super light, get super dark, do something fun with it. I mean, even if you end up with a gray blob, you can always,
bring out
let
the
it dry,
child,
paint over it.
Yeah. Hey, bring out the inner child. Go back to the roots, just like finger paints or some shit. Anything.
Yeah, actually, finger paints would be super fun to get back into. I haven't done finger painting in so long.
Yeah.
Actually,
be good for like a really big size.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, well, actually, I
Medium
can't
big,
always
I'd
say that because like I do these paintings where I do like a bright yellow and an orange underneath, and then I'd put like a like a well, sometimes I mix it with the silicone, and then I put like a nice like purple or something over it, and then I'd finger paint over it.
Oh, nice.
So like the yellow would show up after it was dried a little bit. Because with that silicone, once it's dry a little bit, it just becomes almost like a crust. So you can kind of like put little designs, do like cave style drawings, shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. There's something super simple about finger painting. It's almost like it's almost like an innocence kind of a thing. It brings you back.
Yeah, totally. Well, people are so hardened of everything that happens and everything that we know about on the internet now. It's why everybody's so stressed.
Oh, absolutely. Actually,
There's just so much going on.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were talking about it's just like an information input overload. It's just too much all the time. The news cycle happens so quick now. There's so much coming in, and there's not enough going out.
Yep.
And, I mean, people can't keep it all straight. It all just kind of blends into, like, one big, like, never-ending noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very hard to focus.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Well, that's why I try and, I don't know, it's just a little rule of mine. Like, when I am painting or doing something, creative, I just don't have my cell phone on me.
Yeah, no, totally. I go through jams like that, and I'll just bust that shit out.
Yeah.
Work
just
on it till I'm
completely turn
happy.
it out, man.
Yeah.
Put it in a,
yeah.
leave it in the other room. That's a good thing to do before going to bed, too.
Yeah.
Either, plugging your phone across the room so it's not right by your bedside.
Yep.
And which is good for when you have to get up in the morning. You actually will be able to have to get up and walk over to turn off your alarm. And
you gotta wake up,
dude. It kind of sucks at first, but later on you feel appreciative because you did it.
Yep.
Oh, and I'm not a morning person either. Like, I'm terrible about it.
I can be, depending if it's a very nice summer day and it's golden sunshine.
Yeah.
I will wake up at fucking 9 a.m. no problem. Even 8 a.m. sometimes.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just something about waking up to a sunny day, though, that like, gives you a little bit of extra strength.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, makes you want to get up, gives you a little bit of motivation. As opposed to, like, you get up, it's raining, it's just groggy out. You don't have any motivation to do absolutely anything.
Chicago winters.
Yeah, oh, God, tell me about it. And I get so cranky in the wintertime, too, just because the lack of vitamin D from the sun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, the last few winters up here, besides that, like, 2 weeks last year, that was just, like, what, -30?
Yeah.
Besides those 2 weeks, it was just, a pretty, like, consistent, even pale blah. It wasn't, like, super cold, wasn't super snowy. It was just a gray blah. And after a few months, that can wane on you.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, do you tend to do more painting done, in the winter months when you're kind of, like, you're hunkered down, or, like, more out in the summer when you're out and about at, like, festivals and stuff?
Well, I've never been to a festival that I would draw at, which is honestly something I really wanted to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking last year, but it's perfect now because there's a lot of people who have come in my life where that's going to be possible.
Yeah, man.
It's great.
Yeah, man. Well, Intrinsic Arts is always looking for live painters, so, anytime you want to, like, hit up a fest, let me know, dude. We'll get you in.
It's going to be interesting because I'm going to have my tablet doing that,
Actually, one of the artists I'm going to have on here, either next week or the week after. It'll be a few episodes after you.
Yeah.
But what he did was he would bring his tablet to festivals and do the same thing.
Nice.
But he'd, like, plug it into a little projector.
Yeah.
So, like, so you could sit and live project and, which would be super cool.
Fuck yeah.
I used to do that with cartoons.
Nice.
Not cartoons, just like little doodles on an overhead projector.
Yeah.
So I'd start off like doing like a little comic strip, and then I'd fill it out, and like little by little it would,
nice.
Become a whole story over the course of the hour. Then you spray it down, do another little story.
Right.
And I don't know, man. There's something about that makes it a little bit more interactive.
It does. Yeah, it does. Because you're making use of that energy on the spot. That's what I think about live painting. It's really awesome.
Well, yeah. And live painting too, like when you're in the moment, like, people are actually like sitting and like, focusing their intent on it.
Yeah.
It just makes that connection to the artwork so much better for you because you kind of like feed off of it. I mean, same as like a way a musician would feed off of a crowd, right?
That's exactly what I do with my art. Actually, like I end up listening to music, and I have this really cool belt that's like a vibration belt.
Oh, okay.
That hooks up via audio.
Yeah.
It sends the bass signals. And you
Really?
wear it like on your diaphragm, and then there's another one behind on your back on the other point.
Oh man, now see that's got to be great for breathing exercises.
Well, yeah, it's great for that. But they're listening to like, any electronic music that's super bassy.
Yeah.
Having that, even like very symphonic music is perfect because you have those really low notes that you don't necessarily hear. But if it's a really good audio, that's going into it, they're not going to crop out anything. It's not going to be compressed audio.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a lot of those bass notes in there, but you can't hear it in the headphones necessarily. And then you'll feel it. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy.
Huh. Man, I've never heard of that. What are they called?
That one's called Wooger.
Wooger.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to remember that.
Wooger.
But I mean, that sounds super cool. Now, what kind of music do you prefer to paint to usually? Like something that's like more, more down tempo, a little bit like trancey, or do you like want something more upbeat and kind of grooving?
It's honestly completely random. Like I've maxed out my Spotify about like 4 or 5 times now, and I have to just start unsaving everything and just saving it to playlists.
Yeah.
I probably have several 100,000 songs saved, but I can't save them anymore, obviously. So, as far as songs saved to playlists, I guess.
Huh.
So I listen to a lot of different music.
Well, I guess the question is then, it's not what kind of music do you listen to, but what you've been listening to recently.
Yeah, recently I've been listening to this band called Jungle, and they're a very, very cool band. They have like I don't even know, like a 7-piece or something like that, and all of them kind of sing at the same time, and it's very funky.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very cool, but I've been listening to a lot of funk, I guess, recently.
Now, see, that's what I prefer to paint too. Like,
Nice.
I love the funk. I need something with like a good bass line to keep my like strokes in place. You know what I mean?
Oh hell yeah! You could do like quick little flicks like to the music.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, actually, I did a couple of paintings that I would listen to. There were portraits of certain musicians, and I would only listen to their music as I was doing it.
Yeah.
It kind of like I don't know, it kind of makes that experience more personable in a way. Because you kind of like can pick up techniques from like the music of that song, like discover new stuff that you didn't have before.
Right.
I love that about art is that it's just something that like even if you don't have any classes, like just by doing it you can just pick up little things, different ways to move your wrist, stuff like that.
Yeah, right, exactly. It just works out. If you're getting into something, the vibe is always the same.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's beautiful. It's all of us as humans get into something. We all do.
Yeah.
We all get into something. But when you're feeling that, we all have that same feeling. It's a beautiful thing about art.
Yeah. And so let me ask you, what made you want to do the psychedelic artwork? Was there like a certain experience that kind of pushed you in that direction?
Yeah. Basically, Photoshop now has symmetry functions in it.
Okay.
Where as you're drawing, it will put it over those symmetry points automatically.
What?
I brought my tablet actually. So
man, you're gonna have to show me later. That's cool. Wait,
so it's
was
very
that in the,
easy to make awesome mandala stuff.
Yeah, was that just in the most recent edition?
Yeah, it's Adobe CC one, Creative Cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, so just the newer, crappy big ass plan you got to pay for, but but I use most of them anyway, so it's all good.
A feature like that though, man, like that's
dude, it's great.
That's worth it.
Yeah,
that's worth it because oh man,
you can make custom symmetry too. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Now, do you like? How does that work with like anchor points? Do you like put certain anchor points and then like stretch out certain shapes around it, and then like just like kind of pull it?
No, that would be awesome. That would be fucking cool, but no, it's not quite that way yet. Who knows where it might
I'm
be
hoping for it. I'm hoping that.
You probably could do that with a combination of layers.
Yeah,
honestly. But because all the features are there, honestly. You just got to do them separately, just not together. It basically shows guides
Yeah.
And then those guides are the symmetry points that it will, symmetrically draw over. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's what I've been using a lot. And I started in black and white, just trying to get a hold of the, mechanics of it, basically. And then I ended up drawing my first color one, which was Anxiety.
Okay.
Which is this really, like, skull-y kind of brown pollution kind of color. Because I had a lot of anxiety just starting.
Yeah,
I was just like,
Well, yeah. And then, like,
just like,
and that's like such a good visualization of it too, because like anxiety just makes you feel gunked up.
Yeah, dude. And there's like these eyes, and they're kind of like dripping into the center. It's like a 4 symmetrical, 4-point symmetry kind of thing.
Huh, that's
like
cool.
4 corners,
So is it like dripping over the eye?
Kind of. It's very abstract,
Yeah.
obviously, but yeah, that's how I would describe it. It's kind of like kind of, I don't know, fluidy, very fluid kind of mixture that you don't know if it's water or gas or what the hell's going on. But the eyes definitely, just looking at them, and the human response to seeing 2 eyes is always going to make a face.
Oh yeah,
their emotion right away, and the emotion is there. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna do another one. I just didn't stop.
See, I love that because like it hits that like uncanny valley part of the brain to where like it allows you to project what you want to onto it. Yeah. And at that point, going down to like the base emotion you want to express, it's going to be done with color. Yeah. Because people are going to be filling in the rest. Right. So you just got to use that motion to your advantage.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, then I started throwing color in there, and I really love using color.
Oh, yeah.
But I was so used to doing it very realistically that breaking out into this, I'm just going to throw these colors randomly everywhere and just go until I'm happy with it. Yeah. I could always undo, I could always erase if I wanted to, but it's going to transform into something. Well, it's always random.
Well, and that's like just the advantage of being able to do it in like an illustrating program is that you can be more in the moment because I mean they have the phrase well, I'm not married to the idea, like anything you do you're not married to. Right. You can just click a button and it'll completely undo it. Yep. Which man, that's a lot of power as an artist.
It is a lot of power.
I mean, it lets you be a lot more precise with your vision. Well, going back to that perfectionist thing,
Right. Yeah. Now I can be very precise in just the use of color, I guess, and the use of line work, as long as I'm happy with that. Yeah. And just the mixture, and if it does something to the eye, I focus a lot on like what would those be? Like illusions, basically. When you're looking at a certain pattern of an overlapping pattern will make some kind of weird thing that would happen,
Yeah, kind of like, oh man, what were those? I can't think of the proper word offhand, but it's like what used to be in those old highlights magazines. You know what I mean? It'd have something there, but then if you gazed off of it, it would just blend in and it would look like something else. Yeah,
and there was this one, I think it's "Don't Let Go and Breathe." Or no, it's "Let Go and Breathe." Don't let go and breathe. Doing that would be bad. Don't do that. Yeah, no, it's that one. But like, because it's got basically 4 rotating parts on the corners, and then in the center, it makes something completely different. Like there's, I don't even know how to describe it. Like there's these shapes that appear and grow, and then they disappear. They get absorbed into the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Yep.
Yeah, shapes that just kind of like blend in and fade away into the other designs.
Just because they're at the corner of like the thing,
Well, then it makes it, I don't know, it makes it feel more alive when you have constant changes in that because...
Yeah, totally.
I don't know, like, when you're putting those little things in there, it almost allows for them to be like Easter eggs. To where you can probably look at the same piece 2 or 3 times down the line, and you're gonna find something new in it, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay. It's kind of like watching a Tarantino movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're never gonna see it the same way twice.
Yeah, and he always puts those little Easter eggs in there that if like you're actually watching out for it, you could see the red apple cigarette, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love when movies do that too. That's I don't know. I was a big fan of Well, being a comic book guy, you probably watch like those YouTube videos that just have like the Easter eggs that are in like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
They just put so much stuff in there.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It just goes to show you when you put someone in charge that's passionate about the material. Same way, you know, an artist is passionate about their piece that they're doing right then and there.
Yep.
Like if you're passionate about it, like you want to add those little intrinsic things that bring out more character later on.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the more you watch, the more you just love the characters.
Yeah, I think that's what makes art lasting in the long term.
Yep.
There's
It captured that emotion that all humans it's a human thing, a human response to.
Yeah.
What is happening that's captured.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know, I think that's the reason why, you know, people even you know, little kids with finger paints are expressive beings. Like they're trying to capture that moment over and over again. And I feel like we try and capture that moment with a lot of things in our lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Even the things we shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when people project their problems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's unhealthy projection, which is when they don't realize they're doing it. But then what you were doing with your artwork, you know, with that anxiety piece, like you were projecting that feeling onto that canvas. And, you know, I don't know, it's almost like, you know, you're bringing up it in a way that you can face it in, like, you know, an actual objective standpoint, as well as it, you know, being subjective representation of what you were trying to express. But it's like, you know, you work it out onto something, and then, you know, whether you, you know, decide to burn it, get rid of it, stick it in the closet, you know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know, every time you look at it, it's going to bring you back to that place that you were and remind you of how far you've come. Yeah,
totally. You know? And it was a very quick piece too that I made. It probably took an hour or so. Yeah. You know, it's not very difficult at all. But it was just completely random. I didn't plan that it was going to be anxiety. It's just I drew and anxiety came out of it. Yeah. And it was totally the feeling that I had at the time. Yeah. It's funny that I expressed that so well in it. And it just caught me off guard. And I was like, okay, I'm going to keep drawing, I guess. That was pretty awesome. You know, I might be good at actually capturing emotion in a very abstract way. Yeah, like makes you feel relieved. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's interesting. So I keep in on it.
Now, comparatively with the artwork that you're doing nowadays, what sort of themes have you been tackling or, you know, thinking about while you're creating your most recent pieces?
Well, I've been working a lot on the video pieces, which are very kaleidoscopic. It takes those symmetry points and turns them into points where the, you know, basically the lens would be shifting. Yeah. You know, so that is very easy. You just do a counter rotation and only show specific pie-shaped portions of each piece. And all of a sudden you have a different thing. But you can also do crazier, like abstract things when you take it and put it over a different symmetry point. And then you start to have this kind of jump and like this kind of scatter. Like it does this kind of interesting thing. It's just basically mathematics, you know, at that point.
Yeah. Man, it's like that access point where art and science just like coalesce, you know.
Well, everything's programs. That's where we are now. Yeah. Or with science and computers, and this is art now.
Man, it's pretty awesome. Well, that and it's made it so much more interactive too, because I don't know, like I've done video projects, like none of that level of skill, which sounds really cool. I can't wait till you send me those links. Yeah. But yeah, even the piece I have out in the living room, you know, with the mannequin with a TV for a head. Yeah. Basically what I did is I remixed a bunch of music, vaporwave style, you know, remixed a bunch of like old commercials, you know, put it over, but like each thing had its own theme. And, you know, when I built them originally for a burn event, we had him sit up in the corner and he had like the headphones on, and, you know, it was basically a 5-hour video that would just go on repeat over and over and over. And like there was actually one guy, I don't know what he ate, but he was in a place that he just needed to zone out for like 5 hours. And like I saw, and like he came up to me and he's just like, "Hey man, when are you restarting it?" I'm like, "Anytime you want, dude." So like he actually sat there for 5 hours, man. He like sat down with his little thing of water and just sat and zoned out and watched it. And like I have never sat down and watched that entire thing, nor would I want to, because you know it's just kind of like, you know, something random you come and you put on. But like I don't know. I hope it made that guy's day. He stuck around for a while.
Yeah, right.
But like even that entire project was just for that one guy's experience. You know, it makes it worthwhile because you know, maybe that was that moment that he was chasing after. You know, by engaging with that art.
Yeah, totally. You can only hope.
Well, I don't know, man. Like I feel like, you know, like video projects like that, you know, even music videos in general that, you know, kind of keep it a little bit vague.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it allows you to project a piece of yourself onto it. I mean, any artwork in general does, but...
Yeah, at least like a moment of yourself that you saw, you might be that emotion or whatever the piece is showing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, just something very particular about, you know, the combination of music and image. Because, like, you know, movies can, to a point, like, you know, get you to that place of, let's say, anxiety. You know, let's say you're watching, like, you know, a horror movie, like, you know, there's a big, you know, there's a argument, people are yelling. Like, you know, you'll definitely feel anxious, but, like, when you really feel anxious is when there's no dialogue. It's just the image of someone like walking into a room with that music that's heightened. And like, you know, it's just when you can combine vision or visuals and music in that way to like pick a specific emotion to try and exploit. It's such a powerful instrument.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Now, do you do any of the music for the videos that you make, or have you just been featuring other bands?
Not yet. I haven't been actually putting any music.
Okay.
They've just been, you know, whatever. But I have like 2 of these tongue drums. They're really cool, like those metal ones that are, you know, kind of like...
Oh, yeah, the ones that have like the little notes on them. Yeah, those things are so much fun.
Yeah, they're fun. So I got 2 of them that are like, I don't know, complementary octaves, I guess. But yeah, I want to do some of that. And I also do a little bit of like mixing and recording on the side. So I have this little... thing that I plug into my computer. Gives me 2 inputs for guitars and bass. You know, I actually made a song with Matt, and yeah, just me and Matt made this song, and it's a really good one. It's about my relationship and me getting out of it and whatnot. It's a very metal and very dark Santana-y kind of song.
So is it like? Well, let me ask you, what kind of like subgenre of metal is like more industrial or?
It's kind of industrial a little bit. But this one was like mostly just guitars and whatnot. And I use Easy Drummer for the drums, but I play it on the keyboard.
Okay, that's
so, like,
cool.
I kind of do it myself, you know. I don't just rely on the library. You know, I actually try to play it, and it's fun just to like record it live. Yeah. And I take snippets.
Yeah. And then I'll put it together later.
And that's the fun way for sure.
Man, and then, I don't know, whenever I'm in the mood for something that's, like, more metalish, I tend to go for the instrumental stuff first.
Yeah, totally.
Because, like, I don't know, man, I'm over people screaming into microphones.
Yeah.
Like, I still want to hear the thrash.
Yeah. Oh, the guitars.
Oh, yeah. It's all the guitars, man.
All guitars.
It's all the guitars. That's why, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man, like, particularly, like, those metal bands that, like, sit and plan out, like they orchestrate their song to where like they're gonna take you to the lows, they're gonna take you to the highs, they know where they're going with it. Particularly like the stuff that incorporates like bits of trance in there too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But I don't know, I'm just too big of a Tool fan.
Yeah, fucking Tool, man.
Yeah, man, that was actually one of the like first like awesome visionary art experiences I had was oh man, I want to say it was Bonder. I know it's not. Alex Gray was live painting with him, and I was like in the portion of the crowd that just had like a good like view of him. Yeah. And like, you know, I just sat and watched him the entire time.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that style of artwork. But well, I mean, you know, just going back, like he knows how to use colors to exert emotion.
Yeah, totally.
And well, I mean, we were also talking about just live painting in general, like, you know, being in the moment. Yeah. Like, being in the moment, that is, like, one of the best ways of combining visual artwork and the music in one spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely something I want to get into this year. So, who knows? You might see me.
Man, I'm telling you, get a projector, man.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta do that.
Yeah, dude.
Totally gotta do that.
Dude, you know what you need to do? You need to get on Let Go. You could probably find one for like $50.
That's a good point. Just get a used one.
Man, well, I don't know, man. I was on the Let Go and the offer up game hard. Dude. Oh, dude, we would just go like garbage pick stuff and then just sell it on Let Go. Because like, Weed Whacker could work. I didn't say it works. I said it could work. Somebody definitely come by for like $5 and grab it.
Just not going to tell them I knew that it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could work. I don't know. I found it. That's what I told him. I found it.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, but like, I don't know, man. Like the thing about those apps, like, Let Go, Offer Up, it's just like a yard sale for people that are too poor to have houses.
Yep. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Like, oh man, I had this very, very, very large record collection.
Oh,
like hundreds and hundreds of records.
Wow.
All of them are trash.
No
just
shit.
like just trash. Polka albums. We're talking like we're talking Bette Midler's greatest hits, like a little bit of Fiddler.
Yeah.
It was a whole bad ordeal, and I just kind of inherited them.
Wow.
And what happened was, we did the yard sale thing, and like people came, they picked out the very rare good things that were in there. Like you had to go digging.
Yeah.
And then I was just left with probably still 300 records.
Wow.
So I just have them on the tables there. I put them in the garage. I'm like, I'm just gonna go on Let Go, and I'm just gonna sell these things.
Yeah.
So I sell them, or I find a guy who hits me up about them, and I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, I told him right off the bat, I'm like, you can't come and look through them. Like, the price is for the lot.
Take them all.
Well, I was like, you take them all, one big thing. Yeah. 30 bucks.
You to deal with it.
$30. $30. They're all yours, man.
Go.
I don't want to look through them. I don't care to look through them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, the guy, I meet the guy in like the Walgreens parking lot, and like I'm unloading him into his car, and he's just like, and then like he's like looking through them, and like he's just like looks so disappointed. And I'm like, you're not gonna listen to those, are you? And he's like, well, actually, my plan is I'm an artist, so I'm actually going to basically throw away the records and just use the album art. In like a giant collage project.
Wow.
So he wasn't even looking for like good records. He was looking through and looking for good album art.
Wow.
So yeah, he did this giant collage piece. He never sent me pictures of it when it was done, but it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Just the idea of like 400, 500 polka albums just
right.
assembled in some giant thing.
That's gonna look like very, very crazy. It's gonna look like one of those. What was it? I don't know if it was German or something like that. One of those old, weird, abstract, surrealistic paintings.
Yeah, those like German
demon
expressionist stuff.
Yeah, some of that crazy shit.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, man, if you ever get a chance to go out to Seattle, they have or the art museum there has a lot of that old like medieval artwork that's just like, a bunch of like people and monsters running around in the woods and stuff.
Oh.
Man, I took way too big of a dab hit before I went into that section. like I stuck my pen in there, and I was just zonked out.
Oh shit!
Just walking around looking at these like crazy ass paintings. I'm like, man, what were these people eating back then? I mean, it's all very, very good and well done. Like it's super realistic a lot of the time.
Bad bread.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, that would make sense because
is it?
Well, it's the rye breads, right? When the rye goes bad, it causes you to hallucinate.
Yeah, because it's got some kind of mold or something. Not mold, some kind of spore or something that it started growing. That causes you to have very psychedelic and very angry. Everyone just becomes angry and like
Yeah. I mean that would make sense. Well,
they based some drug off of that. I forgot what it is though.
Absinthe?
No, it's not absinthe.
Well, no. I mean, you're talking about it's a mold you're eating.
Right.
Was it like one of those like designer drugs, like a C2,
it's
75,
kind of
86, whatever the hell they're called these days.
Along the lines of like acid or something like that.
Huh.
Some kind of chemical mixture that's a derivative,
Okay.
from the original source.
Man.
It was. I watched some YouTube special on it.
You know, I'd like to see Hamilton do that. You know, you ever watch that guy on Vice?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, he's I think his name's, I believe it's Hamilton. He has a series. He basically travels around the world and tries all these different kinds of drugs.
Wow.
Yeah, he's done all sorts of like crazy stuff. There was one episode where I believe he was in Peru. It was somewhere in South America where they had like those bees with the psychedelic honey.
Oh yeah.
And they were like cutting down the combs and then like they'd extract the honey out of it.
Wow.
And they were they were just getting all fucked up. But yeah, no, he goes around and like tries very specific kinds of drugs that are rare, and he's like also like a chemist and like I believe a neurologist. I'm probably whistling Dixie on that one, but like he kind of like tells you the symptoms, walks you through what's happening, looks at it from an academic standpoint.
Okay. Huh.
But I mean, I don't know, that's super interesting though. Like you think about just how psychedelics, bred or otherwise, and just the impact that it's had on the art scene throughout history.
Right. Yeah.
It's almost like the two have always been connected together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
That's crazy, though. Well, I mean, it's not unheard of. In the late 1800s, they had these big, the spiritualist movement that was really big at the time.
Oh,
People into seances and stuff.
Yep.
And people would have all these spiritual encounters, like they'd see all these like hauntings and all this stuff. Like people were recording them nonstop. But what is historically interesting correlation is that at the same time people were running gas pipes into their houses for the first time, and they'd have the lanterns up that they could just turn on and off.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when they'd be having these spiritual experiences, they would just be breathing gas. They'd just be huffing it.
Hey, there's leaks.
Just gas leaks all over. And
that's funny.
And they were just having all these encounters, and actually there was those seances that were like thrown by like the charlatans, like they would know this, so they'd turn up the gas. So when they'd have their events, everyone would be kind of tripping out on it. Yeah. And then their parlor tricks would go a lot further. Right. They're all huffed out on gas.
Hey, so way to do it. You're gonna sell your snake oil. That's how you do it.
Right. So a bunch of people are all tripped out.
Yep.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how it's sold these days. Oh, that is like something that's like super interesting to do. You ever have that experience where like you're just like trying to sell art to someone who's just so spun they don't know up from down, and they're like really into talking to you about it, and none of their questions make any sense whatsoever?
No, I heard that. That sounds funny. Funny to reflect on, probably.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you have some. You meet some interesting folks, to say the least. You meet some interesting folks, to say the least.
Oh man,
it was. Oh man, there was this. I want to say it was Shoe Fest. Either way, I was sitting there, and this guy comes up and he just wants to talk to me about this piece I did, and like there was this piece. It was. Basically like almost like an alien invasion, right? Super like surrealist, like the ends are like black shadows.
Oh, okay.
And the guy's like, covering himself, like that, like the shield himself from the aliens.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like talking about dabbing. And I'm just like, well, I mean, I don't have a dab torch or anything, man. And he's just like trying to like get it together. He's just like, no, man. He's dabbing like a football dab.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, dude. I can see that for sure. They're like, nah, man, I don't have a torch on me, but yeah. No, it's just an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the cool things that are just about like sharing your art with others is like they see things that you maybe not have intended, and you just
never see it that way.
Yeah, just because.
It's cool.
So have you ever had any like specific experiences where like you really like showed someone your art and they just like dug it and wanted to get into it?
Yeah. Like actually, it was at in Chicago. What was it called? This place on Diversity in like Milwaukee or something like that. I forgot, some kind of gallery opening that they had, and yeah, no, a lot of the artists that were there like actually stuck around to like they were just like looking at my art because they didn't have a chance. They were like talking to people and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, they came around and like they were just like, dude, this is fucking great. I was just like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just got so much positive feedback from everybody.
Well, and I mean,
That
particularly with like getting it from other artists to it, like
Yeah.
you get that sense of validation. Like, you know what, man?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, maybe my shit isn't horse shit. Like I've been telling myself
Yeah,
the last fucking 3-4 months. But yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's one of those like first steps. When other people, artists, are that your peers, kind of give you that sense of validation.
Yeah, sure.
It just makes you want to bring your A game.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Just lets me know I'm doing the right thing. I'm just gonna keep on it. I'll see what it transforms into.
Now, what sort of things do you like, or I guess when you bring, when you show your artwork, like what sort of things do you want to inspire through it? What do you want other people to get from it?
I don't know. I haven't honestly really thought about it. I was thinking it'd be really cool to use as like backgrounds for different things,
Yeah.
and like music videos and that kind of thing, syncing up music to it. Because I was thinking there'd be a way to do live drawings to music while somebody's maybe dancing to it, or maybe people are performing the song in the foreground, and that could be a really cool stage type setup.
Oh yeah. Yeah, particularly with like the visualizer in back with like a live performance.
Yeah. If I could have a big projection of me drawing something like that, that would be amazing. And then the song would end, and this is the piece for that time. That's pretty awesome.
And I think about like a way you could like kind of take that idea and like maybe make it more interactive. Like what if you had like a tablet, like you have like this like display setup.
Yeah.
Like you walk up to this tablet, you have like the pen, like you put on the headphones, and as long as you're drawing, the music's playing.
Yeah.
The moment you stop, the music stops.
Oh, that'd be crazy, dude. Like it's like you're scraping a board that's hooked up to like MIDI devices or something. As you're drawing different shapes, it's allowing that to play in a different way. That would be crazy. Somehow to input, say if you're doing vector drawings, you have those paths, and you turn those paths into, some graph.
Yeah.
Where it plays certain notes depending on the coordinates. That'd be pretty crazy.
Man, yeah, you could do so much with it, particularly if you like, had it like preloaded to where it could like, have all your stuff already as a background, and then like whenever they tap on it, you could like have like certain like vectors change colors. And,
Totally.
Man, that would be so cool.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a web designer as well, so I do a lot of user interface type work.
Oh,
it's interesting. It's fun for me.
Man, actually, that would be a cool little app you could have on your phone. Like, let's say you just had like, you had it interactive with the screen, so every time you touch something, it would. Well, I mean, let's say you just use your what was that instrument we were talking about earlier? The little one that you tap on, it makes all the jungle sounds.
Oh, tongue drum.
Yeah, the tongue drum.
Yeah.
Like if you had like a tongue drum that was set up like on the phone with different like colors within the design, so every time you hit like a different vector, it would like give off that sound, so you can sit and like throw flashes of color, combine them with notes and stuff.
Yeah. There's this really awesome thing that I stumbled on YouTube a few years ago. It's called oscilloscope music.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
An oscilloscope is obviously graphing, the music.
Right.
But people figured out how to play certain tones in MIDI that create shapes on that graph.
Really?
That look like things. So literally what you're seeing is the music. Mathematically graphed.
And now do they run it through like a like an emulation program where it like
some program that they wrote that they released as freeware that people could use.
What?
It's pretty crazy.
I need to download that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I need to download that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Particularly if you could like, let's say sync it up with like your keyboard so you can just sit and play around with it.
Yeah, totally.
Man, even with like if you could like sync it up with like, a mix you did in, Ableton, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Man, and then you could actually, like, you know, particularly if you're like a DJ or a band, you could run your songs through there so you can have like specifically generated images behind you, you know, for your visualizer that are the song itself.
Right, totally. Yeah. You could have like never-ending displays for that, just depending how you use that graph.
Yeah. Now, so I don't know, just from like your standpoint, you know, being more tech savvy, what do you think about the future of like, you know, merging technology and art to find this specific vision? Like what kind of options do you think that's going to open up for people?
It's going to open up a lot of options. I mean, the accessibility of it is amazing. Because, like, the thing is that I think would be really cool. You know, I think it's cool that people do, like, art therapy. You know, they have people just do art and, like, they kind of inspire them to get that out in that kind of fashion.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because the thing is, with the Photoshop symmetry thing that I'm using, anybody could do this if they have that program and that tablet. Like, kids could do this if they wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
Just have fun with, like, bisymmetry. You know, they could draw an animal like that, and like they get somewhere, and they just, you know, it's more fun. It's different. It's interactive. You know, you can make your own abstract picture very easily. You know, as long as you know how to use the tool. You know.
Well, and a lot of because I worked as an art counselor for a while, so a lot of like the tools that they give you for that. I mean, a lot of it is creating artwork. Like you take like a sandbox tray, for instance. You know, when you're having like someone acting out a moment of trauma, like they're choosing these figures that surrealistically represent, you know, certain things that they don't want to express, but like, you know, it's definitely on their mind. But they're able to, you know, they're able to use those things as like representations of them as they kind of work their way through it, and like to replace, you know, that with just shapes and color. I mean, man, I feel like that would be a lot more healing.
Yeah, it would be. You know, the sheer instantaneousness of technology that it grants us. Yeah, we can be more creative than we ever thought, but we have to get rid of our preconceived notions first.
Yeah, of what art should be or what.
You got to break the cultural bounds.
Yeah,
you know, when it comes down to what we're all humans. So if you make use of everything that humanity has to offer, you know, you're fucking gold. That's how everybody is gonna have to be.
Yeah, I mean, you see, like, the two things that really break down cultural barriers are either art or science, you know, art or technology.
Sure.
One way or another, whether it's the whether it's the internet, you know, connecting people who are thousands of miles away, or if it's, you know, a YouTube video that does it. I mean, I guess YouTube would be a good example of that. You know, like, you know, you load something up on YouTube. Yeah. And that's art that can be seen by everybody in the world at one point in time and one central location. There's so much content.
Yeah, totally.
Which, well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, too, because I know we were talking earlier about, you know, just there's so much media these days, it just becomes noise, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to focus. You got to know what you like and focus only on that. Yeah. You know, sure, keep yourself updated, but not more than you have to, because it's only just going to make you pissed off, you know. Don't read into it. You know? If you know it's going to make you angry, don't even go there. Why do that to yourself? You're wasting time and energy, and then the rest time that you need to get over that emotion, it's like,
yeah, man.
You know, fuck that.
Amen. And like, and see, that's the slippery slope though, because a lot of these algorithms, they're specifically designed to want to trigger you to make you mad because that's what's going to make you engage more than liking something. Right. I have this. So I have a couple of different YouTube channels now. One of them, or one of the YouTube logins I have, the only thing I liked on it was like super inspirational shit and like puppy dog videos. Okay. You know, just to see how drastically different they all are.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I mean, the way the algorithm works, you know, whatever you're putting out there, like that's what it's going to give you. Kind of like the law of attraction in general. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever energy you're projecting out in the world is going to come back on you.
Yeah. That's why if somebody gets a hold of your YouTube account, they could really fuck you up.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, you just find yourself with nothing but conspiracy videos. Yeah. And, Man, I don't know, man. I had a YouTube channel like that, or YouTube login like that. That was just like the weird side of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow some rabbit holes
Yeah,
and just see like the bare minimum of where you go.
Take you straight through the night into the morning.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Oh
man.
Shit.
Man, we ended up. We started off watching like cop videos, just like old cops clips.
Yeah.
And then it like descended down into like, backyard brawling. And then that like, and like, we didn't even pick the videos. Like it just kept recommending us stuff.
Yeah.
And it like, it brought us from like that to like old people fighting to like animal attacks. And like, it just kept going down until it was just like fucking security cameras of people getting shot in drive-bys.
Whoa, shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you're gonna like get on YouTube, like create a fresh page and go in there with the right intention. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Because I don't know, I feel like if you have one channel for too long, like it's gonna mess up and it's gonna it's gonna start bringing you more negative than good after a while.
Yep, and that's because of all that metadata.
Yeah, yeah,
it's
pretty
passed
much
along by between more than we even realize. Facebook, YouTube, and all of them are in cahoots.
Oh, 100%.
With the metadata.
Well, you heard about the lawsuit in Illinois against Facebook today.
No.
Oh, so Facebook is about to pay Illinois $550 million for metadata violations. So pretty much they factored it down that every Illinois citizen should get like $200
What?
in a giant like civil action lawsuit.
Oh, dude, that's wow.
And well, I mean, it's swell for Illinois. I mean,
yeah.
I know what I'm going to do with that $200 right off the bat.
Oh yeah.
But it's just such an important kind of lawsuit because it's going to set a precedent going forward for states being able to sue these companies and be successful at it, which is what we need.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, wow, that's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, I was reading that today. It's an interesting thing because I don't know. I feel like we need to at the bare minimum have something similar than what like Britain and most of the European Union has.
Yeah, right.
As far as data privacy, because right now we're just living in like the wild west of data. They can pretty much do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. It is. It is the wild west of data right now.
And have you ever requested the Facebook psych profile on you?
Psych profile?
Yeah. So man, I'll look.
Oh, like it's an evaluation profile for like police or something? Or?
No. So basically, based on every comment you've left and everything you've liked and shared, they like compile this identity of who they believe you should be.
Whoa.
And you can like download it and like they'll break it down like, race, age, political identity, yada, yada, yada. And like, a buddy of mine told me about it. So I pulled it up and they had me as like a 55-year-old black man, which, I think is just fantastic because
great.
like I'm a member of a lot of blues groups, you know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan of the blues.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's my energy.
Yeah, pretty much, man. But it's like, just like funny how they can get it wrong. But, at the same time, kind of get it right, too, depending on how you, want to kind of think about yourself identity-wise.
Right.
Because, I always figured I'm a bit of an old soul when it comes to that.
Yeah, same here,
Man. So, when it comes to, I don't know. When it comes to metadata, what kind of protections do you think that we could put in place on different websites, or what apps should we, not even be engaging with? Because, you design websites, you have to have more of an insider idea.
Well, it's very hidden and you never see it. It's always in the background. In the blink of an eye, there goes your metadata.
Yeah.
Oh, did you click something? There's your metadata.
Gone.
Every single time. It's got to load up into the server that's making this a web app.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have to track that information just because, for programmatic use.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess like even like just clearing your browser regularly isn't even going to do it because it's still going to be stored up in there.
It's just your cache.
Yeah.
Which is stored images.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it. It's like it helps the page load faster. That way, it keeps certain elements loaded. You don't have to reload it.
Yeah.
It makes things faster.
Man. Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess a lot of that falls back on the consumer too.
So,
like,
for sure.
I absolutely love the conformity and just easiness of Google.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's connected, everything's great. But like, if I really want to like get on a search, I'm gonna go to like DuckDuckGo. I'm gonna be specific and intentful and like
That's
where
it.
I want to do my searching.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's just like. It's like predatory companies, predators in general. It's just amazing how often they just rely on the ignorance of others.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that's humans in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Survival of the fittest. That's kind of it.
And, well, I mean, what's interesting, though, is like, when we think of ourselves in like that animalistic aspect, like it's art that really tries to make us be more human than animal,
Yeah, exactly.
Because like if you look at like the reasons why we started forming cultures and societies and cities, such a good portion of it was based on artwork, on myth, on images that we've created.
If you don't have different artwork, you don't have a different culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, well, I mean, even, like, you look at, like, the artwork, throughout different cultures, just, like, particularly ancient cultures, how different it is, but how similar it is at the same time. Like, admiring.
All happening at the same time.
Yeah. Happening at the same time. Yeah. All, like, focusing on, like, the beauty of, like, the physical form.
Right.
Depending on, whether you're in, like, Greece with those super ultra-realistic statues.
Yep.
Or, China with the what was that specific kind of artwork that they do on the pottery?
Oh man,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where they like hand paint those like scenes, those battle scenes.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know what you mean.
They'd also do it on like those really large like parchments too, you know, for like historical events. But it was their myths, right?
Yep.
And I don't know, it's really like that idea that myth kind of breeds that artistic expression.
Yeah, it does.
Now,
it makes you think.
Yeah.
It makes you see this world that you didn't know of, before. That's why religion likes to make so much use of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the quickest way to get people.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, create that emotional connection to an image.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking to someone online, and they had made a pretty good point. We were talking about censorship of art and when it should be allowed in public spaces. And, one of the things that he had brought up is that, well, look at the cross. It's an image of a man that's being tortured to death in front of your eyes, like hanging there, either, near death or already dead. And it's just in display everywhere. And like, if you like look at it from that way without the spiritual context of it, it's such a, kind of grotesque idea of just putting a corpse out for everybody to see.
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, even even if you look at that image, without the spiritual context, like, it just kind of reaches at like the base root of empathy that you have, like, and I think that's kind of what makes that image so powerful. Like, it has a way to inspire empathy in it.
Yeah. Huh. That's true.
Huh. So let me ask you then. I guess, like, looking at it, from a modern standpoint, I find it interesting how, like, the modern mythology that we have, like, really influences art of, like, the different eras that we're in.
Yeah. It's very complex nowadays. So much getting passed around, So many sources that people are taking from, It's very interesting to see where art's going to be, like, even 10 years from now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
Well, I
know?
mean, you look at it just how like different the music scene has changed in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like I remember when like EDM and dubstep was just like underground.
Right.
It was underground music. It was never
It was.
gonna. I never thought it would be as mainstream it is now that you'd have
Oh, yeah.
giant, tens of thousands of people just going for that genre at a
Well,
festival.
It's that underground vibe everybody is
Yeah.
collectively searching for, and
Yeah.
that's where festivals come from.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean that underground vibe too. Like I don't know. I feel it's and I was talking to actually another guest about this earlier. It's the idea that like the festival scene, any underground scene in general, right? The idea that you seek it out and you have to kind of be accepted into it.
Right.
That like really like makes people's identity connect with something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's any art scene as well. Kind of, you kind of have that moment where like you want to embrace a certain art form and you want to incorporate it into your identity. And I mean that's a very like personal moment because in that moment you're feeling a lot more whole than you have in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's identifying with something that you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, just like focusing on that, what sort of changes in your identity have you found, like, since you started engaging in art? Have you noticed like a complete shift in like worldview of just like, overall more confidence, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so for sure. I let go of a lot of anxieties that I had, a lot of just problems that I was not letting go of, because I was such a perfectionist. I was always beating myself up.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in this own conflicted, conversation with myself in the background that wouldn't allow me to live in the moment. And then, I'm a very spiritual person as well, so everything just culminated, and I just started breathing a lot more. I started focusing on things that I loved. I took up plants. I grow peppers at home. I got a few bonsai trees.
Oh, nice.
And I got that all set up in my room, which is very awesome in the winter because I have like a little touch of summer in there.
Really? What is it? It's just like a little, like, is it a bonsai-like tree or?
Well, one is a Fukian tea tree bonsai. They're like a little one, got little green, leaves on it. A little tiny shrub, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
another one that's Mount Fuji Sarissa bonsai. That one's got these really like green and white speckled kind of leaves.
Okay.
And they're very tiny. And that one I have to keep in a terrarium because it needs high humidity.
Really?
Yeah, and I have that in there with the orchids and also this
Oh, I love orchids.
little baby onion that I plucked from like my neighbors or whatever. I just saw it. I was like, boop. It was budding from the top because it was at the end of its season. So I was like, yep, okay, it's a baby. I'm just going to plant it, see what happens.
Man, I love orchids. They're so beautiful to look at. What sort of orchids do you have?
They're like these micro orchids.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
a
yeah.
white one and a purple one.
That's cool.
Yeah, they just started getting flowers now. They haven't opened yet, but it's going to be cool.
Actually, I don't know if you're really into reading at all, but have you ever heard of this book called The Orchid Thief?
No.
It's about this guy down in Florida who would go into like the swamps and that, like looking for rare orchids.
Oh.
And just like his mostly his journals and well, maybe not his journals, but this reporter's journaling of him as she kind of followed him around. But yeah, super interesting. You learn a lot about orchids.
Wow, that's cool.
And I don't know, he's just a super interesting character, just in general, like, one of those kind of like eccentric characters. Well, I mean, if you're going to be jumping around the swamps in Florida, you're going to be pretty out there. Yeah. I mean, you're a Florida man, but you're just into orchids.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, see, I don't know. Just kind of going back to what we were talking about, though. You're talking about like those voices in the back of your head. And, the one thing I will always say is that nothing silences those negative thoughts than engaging in art, playing an instrument, like, just doing something of skill that requires focus.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think that is?
Well, for me, it was really, let going of a lot of that stuff, but instead of being a perfectionist as I was and not loving myself because of it, I always wanted to be something more, and always trying to get there, but I never wanted to fake it before I made it.
Right.
Which therefore making me never going to make it. And it also gave me a lot of anxiety because of that. So I finally let go of that. I broke that cycle that I realized I was stuck in,
Well, and also
And I love myself again.
yeah, and I feel
Even
like
though,
when you get in those mindsets too, it's like you're not even like chasing that you're gonna be the man. You're chasing an ideal version of like that's just something that's never going to be.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you're chasing an abstract thought of who you think you want to be, but it isn't necessarily who you are or who you're supposed to be.
Society.
Yeah, who you think society needs to make you.
That's why I mean about I meant about culture. We have to break our preconceived notions. You know what I mean? Those are the things that tie everybody, to the crap, basically. If everybody tried to do what they were happy doing instead of, specifically what was going to make money, everybody would be a lot happier.
Man, I feel like a lot of people feel trapped that they like can't even do that though, because
I know.
I mean, so many people are stuck in like their dead end job that they're at,
I get it.
8 hours a day. When they get home, they're just too tired and too frustrated to want to do anything.
I know that feeling.
And you know what? Like sometimes you just got to kick yourself in the ass and just do it.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the best advice I think I was ever given is that a professional is someone who goes to work even when they don't want to.
Yep, exactly.
Like if you're a professional, you're going to
point.
power through it,
Yeah, you have to. It's got to get done.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know that more than anybody building up a small business, you know.
Yep. Well, reaching deadlines and all that.
Well, not only that, but reaching deadlines, and then last minute, the client wants a change that wasn't agreed upon.
Websites.
Yeah. Oh, websites for sure.
Always.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And what sucks about it is with like competition like Squarespace, like you have to be willing to go the extra mile and add those personal touches every single time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because you're just talking about technology becoming more available, so more people are going to be creative. Like man, doing stuff like that is so much fun. Yeah. I created a Squarespace account just so I can goof around and make fake websites. Yeah, there you go. You know what I mean?
That's
like
funny ass one you send to your friends.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I think they had like that export demo feature for a while too.
Oh, nice.
So you could have screenshots of what each page looked like.
That's cool.
yeah, I made some goofy ass ones. It was a good time. But but just going back, like, customer service in general, when it comes to small businesses, like, even though it exhausts you, like, that's what's going to put you over the top.
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's actually what I love about the business that I'm in. I have a face-to-face contact for the most part.
Okay, that's great.
We end up having a meeting or something with them first to discuss all the details, and then we figure it out, from there.
Right.
And more often than not, I'd say all of our clients that we've had, we became very good friends with. And we're doing more work with always. So it's been working out very beautifully. So,
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's also like one of the things I love about art primarily is its ability to bring people together. Like even like, people of like minds to collaborate on projects because, you think about all the art that goes into throwing on a concert. It's not just the band, but you're going to have an artist to do the poster. You're going to have decorations put up. You're going to have a specific vibe you're going for. Like, yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of collaboration that goes into those types of events. Just like there's, you look at like a gallery and just the amount of collaboration with different artists that go into it, into that kind of experience where every little piece of wall is its own individual experience. Right. And it's how they kind of mesh together,
Yeah, people focus on which ones you're going to see together, and they'll make that part of the experience. Yeah, it's crazy. Every little bit, even the parts we don't even realize that are just subconscious, are a big part of art already.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about it. It's the unconscious, the thing that kind of unites everybody.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that collective unconscious. And,
same.
I don't know. One of the main reasons, I wanted to do this podcast is that I feel that like when more people hear about the process of art and how it's helped, people engaging in it, and how it's helped people, find their specific voice, their specific expression, it inspires them to want to do the same. I mean, and inspiring people to want to just do it. No matter what it is skill-wise, no matter what you want to do, like just inspiring people to do it because, your experience just doesn't have to be your job or your family, like you can take that time to, develop something, even if it's just for you.
Give yourself a choice.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
don't have one, give yourself one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, it gives you such
difficult.
an outlet too. Everybody needs an outlet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Depending on what that outlet is, I wouldn't necessarily say like drinking would probably be the best outlet for it. Though, people do choose that when they don't have a better option.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. If they were focusing on something else that made them happy, maybe they wouldn't really drink as much.
Yeah.
The problem with drinking is people that are like sad drinking.
Yeah.
It's not the happy drinkers that are the alcoholics.
No. No. Happy drinkers don't want to party on a Wednesday night usually.
Yeah, right.
When they gotta get up the next morning.
Unless they got Thursday off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I found myself in that same situation with art where, like, it'll be a Wednesday night and I'll just stay up way too late, like working on something, editing a video, something along those lines, and I'm gonna regret it in the morning, But you
go weeks like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm cranky. I'm way too fucking cranky. I gotta sleep.
Yeah. I need to just reset my batteries real quick.
Yep.
Yeah. Put myself on charge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because, I mean, I don't know. You're chasing that same kind of feeling, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I don't know. Drinking, art, like, it's just a way to get those negative thoughts to turn off sometimes,
It changes your focus.
Yeah.
Which shifts the neurons that you're accessing. That gives you different emotions and all that kind of stuff,
Now, let me ask you, do you ever combine your spiritual practices with your art, like doing breathing while you're doing your artwork?
Not yet. Not in a very physical sense like that. That's cool. It's a very interesting way. And then also with the music, too.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that could be related.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I do incorporate them kind of with the names. There was one piece that I did where I actually drew it in a forest.
Okay.
After I just planted my apple tree, which was not going to. I'm just
awesome.
I grew it indoors from a seed. I didn't expect it was going to take off. And it grew like 3 feet in my fucking
What?
room.
That's awesome.
But it was way too. I could not get a big enough pot for the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
had lights on it and everything. I was like, I got to plant it. So I don't know if it's still alive now, but I was sitting on a log in the forest after planting that guy. And I drew my piece called The Source.
Okay.
And it's got this very insect kind of look, and it uses a lot of different colors.
Yeah.
It's very cool. So kind of mixing a little bit of spiritualism there, because I'm just at peace when I'm in nature, just hearing the birds. Enough, they will just come up on you, not even fuck with you. They just assume you're part of the landscape because you haven't moved, and birds and everybody else does that too. And while you're in a state where you're drawing, it was just very cool for me. Especially having a tablet like that.
Yeah,
it's something I never thought that was going to be possible.
Huh. Well, then, like, I don't know, man. There's something about, like, doing nature, like, out in artwork, particularly if you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just all-encompassing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of, like, feel that separation from, whatever might be bogging you down back home, whatever the case may be.
Right.
It kind of, like, is that all-encompassing experience that allows you to be more in the moment.
Yeah. I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can be something else. Think a different way.
I think that's that's really what art's trying to get you to do, is think a certain way, perceive it a certain way, have a different outlook on life.
Yeah, God's art is nature.
Yeah, pretty much.
And art is based off of nature and us and just our physical forms, our dependencies, everything else.
Yeah. Well, I think actually that's going to be a perfect place to stop too, because, we're almost at that hour and a half mark. And, it's been a great conversation.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a great conversation. So, before we get off, let me go ahead and have you repeat for the folks. Where can they find all your gallery or all your pieces at?
So, all my pieces. Oh, I got to get my business card.
Oh, sure. Awesome. So what do you got?
All right. So really, I don't have an official gallery site yet.
Okay.
But there is a website I got set up that's got all my prints available.
Okay,
And
awesome.
they can ship worldwide, which is pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
They got metal prints and everything else because, you know, all my artwork is digital.
Okay.
So this is a cool way to give people what they want, any size.
Right,
because
right.
it's digital, I can actually make it that size.
So what site are you at? Is it an Etsy?
Yeah, this is called Darkroom. So it's my name, Cory Turek, .darkroom.tech.
Awesome. And then
you'll find all my art there.
Awesome. Then as far as your multimedia, that is going to be www.beyondi.elusive.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome.
And you'll find both of us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, folks, I would definitely recommend stopping by the Elusive website because he's got some awesome videos set up. You get to see a look at, you know, all the different multimedia art that he's done over the past few years, you know, both in the music scene, in the art scene, and in the corporate scene, which is the most dangerous scene of all.
Yep. Regretful. They got money. And we'll do their work.
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes you got to go where the money is, particularly when it comes to small businesses. And, you know, before we go ahead and get out of here, just want to remind everybody to like, comment, subscribe, share. Do what you can to get the word about this podcast out because the more we share what inspires us, the more we understand the process of art and how it's beneficial, the more people will engage and become connected. Later, folks.
Take care.